Alright guys, I'm here with Mana Etches. He's a GIS specialist working in New Zealand. Just doing an interview on the GIS application that he's been working on. You popped around yesterday to work on the application.
Yep.
Let's just talk a little bit about what the app is and how it got started and everything.
So what it is, basically a search tool to help people quickly find options for property development. I know it's been quite a challenge, especially in Auckland, because as you know, the property industry is like kind of booming.
Mm-hmm.
And I did my ground research, and I found out that there's hardly any land like central Auckland wise, basically, and the only thing that's really available is on the outer skirts of Auckland, which is like remote areas. The problem with that is that if you're like an established business or like an enterprise that want to expand your business or your services, you need a location, and you want to park yourself, as central as possible. Again, the problem with that is that if you found something that's on the market, it's either really expensive or like just not viable for development. So over the years, working in the property industry as a mapping analyst, so I was basically helping property consultants for my last job trying to find land that they could use to create a business case and on-sell it to clients to try and say, hey, look, here's a good option for you to invest in, and all to do with mapping technology. Basically, I was whipping data from LINS, Auckland Council, wherever, to try and help them build a case. So I kind of thought, like, why not open that up to the wider market? But it was difficult in terms of the mapping, because with mapping technology, you got to be like a specialist to try and help drive that for the property consultant. Why not make it really user friendly in terms of like a 3 or 4 step process, which answers lots of questions in itself and still providing value for the end user, which is for the consultants. Yeah, that's how it all began. I put my head into the books, did my own research. I did my own research in terms of what's going on in the industry, what's going on in the mapping space, and the opportunity came up to create the technology for it. It's hard work. It took me quite a long time, that's including the labor to do the research itself. Yeah, that's how it started. Months in the making, about 4 or 5 months into the making, using the Esri platform, the coding platform. I managed to come up with something that it's workable. It's not 100% at the moment, but I know it's gonna add a lot of value in the property industry. There's still heaps of work to be done.
Yeah. So what problem does it solve for people? Or who are the target customers to start off with first?
Mainly people, investors looking to find primal land in Auckland, because whatever's available on the market, what's advertised on the market isn't always 100%. I know this for a fact, isn't always 100% for in terms of location and logistics for a business. So if you want to expand a business, the locations are always viable for the sections that are available in the market. So the app itself, it'll find the properties based on your basic search parameters, which is the site size, the location, and and there's others, and the zonal, Auckland Council zoned areas. So that kind of takes care of that bit, which is a huge bit, and it helps the users to narrow down their search a lot quicker. Typically, it takes about weeks to months to even a year to find sites. So we want to try and reduce that time significantly. Honestly, if you use the app, the first part of it only takes a couple of minutes if you're putting it in right. On top of that, if you find a site that you think is quite it is viable for your liking, you can add additional features to it. So you want to gather more insight, in-depth analysis, which is always a good thing to have in terms of your feasibility. So you can overlay schools, you can overlay road networks, future road networks as well. You can overlay government projects, a big one. You want to know where these projects are happening in government, so that if you find something that's pretty viable, that your it's in line with the government's future plans. Yeah, so it's basically that's it. That it answers a lot of questions at a basic level, but if you want to go in depth, that's when our services come in. I've got a little property team behind me. They basically do all the feasibility analysis, project design, urban studies, and all that. So they've been in the industry for quite some time.
And it's not only properties that are on the market, but it's also properties that are off the market, which is quite important.
That's complementary as well. I mean, there's a few out there, but there still needs to be some work on that. That's a dream. I want to get to a point where it's functioning automatically. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. I've got a MVP, minimal viable product at the moment, which hoping to get the buy-in from people. From those that are interested, at least I get them signed on. And if the more I collaborate with these guys, understand where their problems lie, then I can align the app to suit their needs. Yeah.
So who do you think would be your ideal customers? So you mentioned property investors. Who else?
Specifically, from experience, the clients that property firm at the time was dealing with were mainly customers that were well established, but they wanted to expand their market base. So I wanted to find new customers, and it always came down to customers that are in central Auckland. I mean, that's their prime. We need to find those locations. Can you help us find it? From the mapping side, I was more into the population growth, the council zoned areas, the logistics like the arterial routes, drive time analysis, contours, even the planes. So I was analyzing the planes, which ones were more flat than that'll affect the development costs. So that was my job. Basically overlay all the data, present that to the property consultant, and then they'll sell a case basically to the client. Say, hey, look, we think that this lot or this land site would be the best option for you. So I was thinking, why not speed up that process? I would say anybody can do it, but it's not the case. But if there's a way to make it really user friendly, to speed, instead of taking weeks and months to do it.
Yep.
From a property consultant perspective, why not speed that up into 5 minutes? And later on I'll give you guys a demo about how that works. Yeah, that's really you save on time. If you save on time, you definitely save on cost, because the cost of finding the sites and creating a case from the property consultant that cost always cranks right up. They're not cheap. That's a huge impact on the property industry itself. Property consulting fees are pretty steep these days. Yeah. So I'm using technology. I'm using open data sources to
speed that whole process up.
Speed that whole process. I mean,
that's where the value lies in terms of that speeding up the whole.
We can definitely take it to the next level. I know we can take it but it comes down to the cost of software. Mainly data, actually. Pretty expensive if you want to get into in-depth analysis and in-depth searching. I mean, the users or the clients will have to fork out that. So I don't want to go down that track just yet. I want to see if, so far with people who I've talked to, my property mates, those that I've talked about this idea, they're all on board. It's oh man, that's a good idea. That'll save us a ton of time. And because from what I've heard, they're always flicking in between sites to do it. So they're comparing what they find with from Auckland Council geomaps to Lens database to all these other random sites to try and build a case. But what if you just had that one system that had everything that you needed? So yeah, I've got it to a point where it's usable. Anyone can use it. Honestly, my sons can use it. 12-year-old son can use it if I taught him how to use it.
And where do you think you want to take this if it becomes successful?
Honestly, man, I'm just it's become a personal thing. I just want that to be available for people. It's not. I mean, money would be nice, honestly, to score a coin on it. But what's more important is to get something that I've got sort of property passion since I've been here. I think it'll make a big difference for everybody. Yeah, that's number one for me. Making this available for anybody, not just for Aucklanders as well. Those wondering, I know there's lots of property consultants down in down the line or down South Island want to try and get into the scene on this side, but they don't have the work tools to do it. They're into these other services, but if there's something that's freely available to help them speed it up, that would be great for them to kickstart their search.
All right. Is there anything else? Any last thoughts?
I've got a little property team behind me. I just want to say thank you very much for your insights. They've been extremely helpful getting it to this stage. You know, they're critiquing and all that. It's been like hard yards. Just trying to. I'm just the sole developer behind it, so I don't have a team behind me to. Thankfully, you've come on board to try and boost it up or get it out there. The reason why we're doing this podcast, and also the hosting platform as well, because that was going to be another the backside stuff was going to be another burden to handle, and I don't have the time or the patience to do it.
No worries. Anywhere we can help, we'll get it up and get it hosted, and let's see what happens with it. So,
I mean, there's always room for improvement. I know there is. People are going to critique it and go, oh, can it show more? I say, yeah, it can actually. You can show the world on that one app, but like it has to make sense for everybody. So like it's gonna be a bit of a stop and go kind of exercise, but I reckon we'll get there with time.
All right, that's the GIS, I guess.
It's called off-market, by the way.
Off-market. Find off-market properties.
Yeah, find off-market
within the Auckland area, and maybe the whole of New Zealand once we get it up and running. Yeah?
Yes, if it becomes a viable product,
yeah.
Like if it's something that the property industry like demands for us, hey, Mana, can we do the rest of
New Zealand?
New Zealand can definitely apply. Like,
right.
It's just a matter of, well, I say money, just expertise behind me to help me drive it.
Yeah. Cool. All right.